First introduced with Photoshop CS, the Shadow Highlight command combines several useful techniques into one interface. By harnessing the Shadow Highlight command, you could fix both under and overexposed areas within an image. Let's see how we can harness this command to fix some troubled images.
This image is a perfect subject for a shadow highlights adjustment. We have an area down here that is essentially devoid of any detail. It's completely in the shadows. And then we have an area by the sun that's relatively blown out. Let's choose Image, Adjustments, Shadow Highlight. Now, by default, just running the filter will accomplish some results, and Photoshop instantly assumes that since you chose the Shadow Highlight filter, you must have intended that the shadows were too dark, so it applies a default value of 50%. Now, these two sliders go a long way and allow you to adjust the shadow area and knock the highlights back down. However, you are a professional. Congratulations. Check the box that says Show More Options. Now, of course, the user interface just got a little bit scarier. But don't worry, this will make sense. Let's go ahead and hold down the Option or Alt key and click Reset. Right now, we'll start at the top and work our way to the bottom. The first area affects shadows, and currently the shadows are being lightened 50%. And it is being applied to about half of the image. In other words, the darkest 50% are classified as a shadow. Opening this up and making it a bigger number means a greater area will be affected. But if we only want to go after the darkest areas, we could say only the last darkest third is a shadow. So adjusting it will only affect the darkest areas. See how the grassy area, which is essentially lost, can be opened back up without really affecting the palm tree branches up above and making those look unnatural. Adjust the radius slider to go ahead and soften the selected area. Next, we'll go to Highlights. And I want it to be a very narrow area. So if we lower this to say only the brightest 20% is a highlight. So now as we knock that down, notice how just part of the sun is being affected. If this were bigger, much more of the sky would be processed. So we'll leave that to a smaller number, so only a subtle change is happening in the sky region. The last area is adjustments to contrast and color. And normally, adjusting shadow highlight will take away some of the color. So Photoshop automatically puts a saturation adjustment of +20 back in. If you leave that at 0, you'll see that the image does look a little washed out. So your job is to find the right number, generally somewhere between 5 and 50, to get the color back in the image and match the way that you think the image should appear. Lastly, we have contrast, and we can put a little bit of contrast back in the midtones, and this can be useful if the shadow adjustment knocked away some of the contrast in the image. When satisfied, you can click OK. But first, let's toggle the original image and the adjusted image. And really, that's a pretty dramatic and effective adjustment. Let's click OK. I'm going to close this image and switch to one more problem image. Before I do, though, notice that the Shadow Highlight command is a destructive command.